What's up everyone, it's Kelly and today I've got a nail art compilation for you. It's been such a long time since I've done one, and actually it's been a really long time since I've done nail art at all. So I was having so much fun doing this video. Basically, we're just looking for some really easy beginner friendly jelly nail art ideas. My focus here was for Halloween, but some of these really work for any time of year. And of course I had to use my new collaboration collection with Orly, which is the Witching Hour collection, and today is actually the last day that you can use the discount code KELLI13 to get $13 off your order, so I figured this was perfect timing. So anyway, let me dive into the nail art looks for you. All of the polishes and the products that I'm going to be using are listed in the description, but I'm also going to talk you through each of them, and then at the end of the video I'm going to show you a couple of fun jelly combinations you can do because it's just something that I've wanted to show you since the collection was released, and I figured I would just tack it onto this video. So anyway, let's dive in. So I'm just gonna start off with my favorite nail art look out of the bunch. I am using the Orly Bonder base coat. I didn't film it every single time because I am using it every time. So if you don't know which base coat I'm using, it's the Orly Bonder. So anyway, I'm gonna start off by doing a coat of Mystic Jelly on my nail. And basically what we're gonna do is we're making a jelly sandwich, but instead of doing glitter or something like that, we're actually doing nail art in between each of the layers. So I'm taking white nail polish, this is French tips, and I'm gonna draw a couple of ghosts, and these are the background ghosts. So I'm not gonna fill up the whole nail because I'm actually gonna end up having 3 layers of ghosts and 3 layers of nail polish. So you'll see as I go, but basically I'm just starting by doing this like weird little swoopy thing, and then I add arms to it, and honestly it kind of looks like a shark. And while I was doing this nail art, I was thinking this would be really cool to do as like a little shark pond nail art as well, but we're doing Halloween themes today, so that's what we're doing. And I also want to have some that kind of go off the nail because I want it to look like they're just kind of crowding the area, so you'll see me do some that are like half on the nail as well. And then what I'm going to do to make this manicure very special is I'm actually taking glow in the dark top coat, and I'm going to use that to cover every part of the nail that has white on it, and I'm going to do this for each layer. One of the cool things about glow in the dark polish is that you can actually see it through layers of jelly nail polish, so it's very fun to play with for Halloween. I'm using Glow Up, which is their green glow in the dark one, obviously from Orly, but they also actually have a teal glow in the dark and a blue glow in the dark, and they're just clear when you put them on, but then once you have the lights off you can see the color. Anyway, moving on, I'm going to use a black nail polish, and I'm just going to make little faces on my ghosts, basically just 2 dots for the eyes and then a little mini line for the mouth. And then once that's completely dry, I'm going to go in with a second coat of Mystic Jelly, and you can see this starts to place them a little bit in the background. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to draw on more ghosts on top of that. So with this jelly sandwich, we're basically creating layers of depth. So when you look at it, you'll see that like it looks like just ghosts everywhere, close up, far away, and as we put on more layers of the jelly, they're gonna get pushed further and further back, so you won't be able to see them as clearly, but you'll still be able to see them. So anyway, with each layer I am using the glow in the dark topper over the white, and then I'm also creating little eyes and mouths, and I wanted them to look angry but I don't think I really achieved that very much, but that's okay. Anyway, we're gonna move on to our final layer, and this one, it's really up to you how you want to do this type of look. Now for me, I really wanted to have all of the ghosts kind of pushed back into the background in the jelly sandwich, but if you want, you can keep the ghosts on the top layer so that you have some white ghosts in the forefront of your manicure and then the other ones kind of faded into the background. But basically I am just filling in any bit of empty space. I kind of want to just cover the nail with ghosts, and it's really fun. I think even if you're not great at making them particularly ghost shaped and they start to look a little bit like sharks like mine do, it still ends up giving a really cool vibe when you're done with it. So of course gonna go in with that glow in the dark top coat, and then I'm gonna make my little eyes, and this one I really was trying to make him very angry looking, but he kind of just looks nervous, which is fine. I think he represents me pretty well. But anyway, here is what that looks like without the final layer of jelly, but I wanted to put on a final layer. This is totally up to you, so if you don't want to do that, you can just just go ahead and top it with top coat. I just wanted to do that one layer to, I don't know, make it look more purple because I love purple nail polish. So here is what that looks like in the light, and honestly, I am so pleased with how this turned out. Like I said, this is my favorite nail art of the video, but I know it's also probably the most complicated. Don't worry, the rest are easier. But let me show you what this looks like when we are in the dark. So I went into my bathroom and I turned off all the lights, and here is how the little ghosts glow, and I love how they turned out. They're so cute. This next design is another one that requires a tiny bit of freehand skill, but it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. So once again, just starting off with my Orly Bonder base coat. After this point, I just stopped filming it, but I'm still using it throughout the video. And then I'm gonna do one layer of Oasis jelly. So once that is done and dry, I'm gonna take my black again, and I've been using the Orly liquid vinyl for my black. Believe it or not, I'd actually never tried it before, but I actually accidentally poured out a little bit of my jelly, smoke jelly, so you'll see the first line there was a little bit sheer, but that's okay. But basically, I am just going to be drawing little Frankenstein's monster stitches on my nail, and this is a go-to design for me during the Halloween season. I just love the way it looks. I feel like it's pretty easy when you're doing this because the lines don't have to be perfect or straight because you're working with this like monstery stitching design, so you can really make mistakes and it's not noticeable at all. But once that dries, I'm actually going to go in with a second layer of Oasis jelly. And I'm sure you're wondering to yourself, why would you put the nail art in between the layers instead of just on top? Well, I don't know how to explain it. It's harder to tell on camera, but there's something about having the design underneath the jelly that almost makes it look like a part of the manicure rather than something you painted on top of it. So I don't know, I just love the way it looks like that. Now, if you've been watching this video so far and you are just like, no, these freehand designs are not for me, I've got one for you, I promise. It's super easy and you don't even need a nail art brush for it or any special tools. I am just doing one coat of Oasis jelly and then I'm taking Wildcard and I'm actually wiping off the brush so that there's nothing on there, and then I'm just taking kind of from the neck of the bottle a little tiny bit of the bigger glitters and I'm gonna start to dab them onto the free edge of my nail. So if you haven't guessed what we're doing, we are making a glitter gradient jelly sandwich. So what I really want to do is concentrate all of the bigger glitters on the free edge of my nail, and then when I have those little micro glitters on the brush, I'm kind of just dabbing them a little bit higher onto the nail. And this takes a lot of dipping. You want to keep on dipping in, wiping the brush off completely, and then taking some of the bigger pieces and placing them on, and then any little leftover smaller pieces, you're also just placing them a little bit higher on the nail. So you want to go with that until you are satisfied, and you can really take as much time as you need with this. It's very hard to mess up, so don't feel intimidated by it. It's super easy and fun to do. And then once you're satisfied with how it looks, you want to wait for all of those glitters to dry, and then you go in with a second layer of the jelly. And of course, I'm using Oasis jelly here. And there's just something about a jelly sandwich with Wildcard and Oasis jelly that just feels so Halloweeny to me. I think it's because when you put Oasis jelly over that green glitter, it looks like it's glow in the dark. And you can take this a step further and actually put little dabs of the glow in the dark topper over those green glitters, and that would be so fun. But I did not think of that until just now. Now, this next design is easy, but it's going to require a little bit of background information, so I'm doing a little bonus design here. This one isn't particularly Halloweeny in itself, but this is kind of just the classic black jelly nail art. This is what I think of when I think of black jelly nail art, and this is basically just doing polka dots on your nails using an opaque black polish. And then one thing I always love when people do this type of manicure, or the intermediate version of this would be to do a drawing of lace, which is a little bit more complicated than I think I'm capable of. And then basically you just outline your nail with a border of, again, opaque black nail polish. And for some reason, this really gives off this very cool vibe. I don't know quite how to explain it, but it reminds me a little bit of like a dress or a veil or something going on. But anyway, I made a total mess of my cuticles when I drew that black line around the edge of my nail, so I had to do a lot of cleanup for this one. But then I am taking smoke jelly and I am just putting that over the manicure once it's fully dry. Now, I will say, I have been a little impatient because I haven't done nail art in so long, so I just immediately went in with my top coat and I kind of smudged the way that the smoke jelly looks on the nail, but it's okay, we're just gonna pretend it's not there. And then I'm just gonna finish off the manicure with some matte top coat, and this just creates this really cool effect. I don't know, it's like a dress material, sheer, gossamer, I don't know how to explain it, but I love this vibe. But anyway, so what I wanted to do was take this vibe and apply it to a Halloween-y design. So I'm gonna take my bare nail again, and I'm gonna use the opaque black nail polish, and I'm gonna draw a spider web. So it's super easy to do. It does require a little bit of a steady hand, but the more you do it, the easier it'll get. And basically, I'm just gonna draw a big L on my nail, and then I'm gonna draw a V inside of the L. And you can actually even do more spokes than this, but this is as many as I could fit on my nail. And then you're drawing a slightly curvy line into each spoke of the spider web. So kind of hard to explain, but the hardest part of this manicure is just doing those straight lines. But even if you mess them up, once you start doing the little spider web curves, you're not going to be able to tell that those lines aren't straight, so don't stress about it too much. And again, I'm just going to take that smoke jelly and I'm going to put that over the dry manicure. Now, I was actually thinking when I applied this, I love the way that it looked, but I was wondering if maybe I should have done a border around my nail again. So I don't know, that's something that you could choose if you wanted to do that. And once again, I got a little impatient with applying my top coat, so I smudged the jelly a little bit. I feel like it's been so long since I've done nail art that I absolutely forgot that I need to wait in between layers. So that's totally my mistake, but of course I'm going to apply my matte top coat as well because I just love the way that matte top coat looks with a sheer black nail polish. So I think this just gave a really fun Halloween-y, gothy sort of vibe. All right, so this design, I have gotten so many requests to share and I absolutely love it. So I love that you guys are all on the same wavelength here with this great idea, which is basically to do a manicure with the shade Wing It, which is the bat topper, but do it over a glow-in-the-dark background. So I took my white again, I applied a couple of coats of that, then I applied a coat of the glow-in-the-dark topper, and then I'm taking Wing It. What I did was I actually, again, wiped off all of the bats on the brush, and I just applied it so that I could just get the sparkle and the black dots, and then I poured a little bit out onto a piece of paper, and I individually placed my bats. That's just because I wanted the nail to really have a bunch of them in particular places so that it would look cool when it was glow in the dark. And this is also something that you can just do with this polish in general. It's a way that I like to kind of decide where the bats go, but if you don't want to take the time to do that, that's totally fine. You can just apply it as normal and then kind of just move the bats around with the bottle brush. So I am going to use top coat because the bats are a little bit thick and you want to make sure that they're in a nice even layer. And then here is what it looks when it's dry, and honestly I think it looks so cool in the light, but once you see it glowing in the dark, it is just unreal. It looks like awesome bats against this eerie green background. So absolutely love it. That's it for the nail art, although I do have a little blooper at the end you might like to see. But I also wanted to show you a couple of the jelly combinations you can do and just how many options there are. So I'm going to show you 4 different ones, but seriously, there's way more than that. But basically, I'm taking Mystic Jelly and then I am sandwiching a layer of Oasis jelly in between Mystic Jelly. And what this creates is this really gorgeous, almost indigo, very cool, bluish blurple kind of shade. So you're doing 3 coats of polish, but instead of doing the same polish each time, you're doing Oasis jelly in the middle. And I love the way that this looks. This is probably my favorite combination, but I wanted to show you just how different this looks than if you did an Oasis jelly sandwich with Mystic Jelly in the middle. So same polishes, but this time we're doing Oasis jelly, then a layer of Mystic Jelly, and then on top of that, a layer of Oasis jelly again. So you wouldn't think it would be that different, and it's not that different, but I just feel like this is another cool thing about jelly polish is that you can kind of create more colors. So this to me feels like more of a bluish teal kind of shade, and I'm going to show you a little comparison chart at the end, so don't worry, you will see them side by side. One other easy way to use these jellies, and another reason why I love having a black jelly, is you can actually use them to deepen the existing colors that you have. So I'm going to show you with Mystic Jelly. So basically I'm just going to do another sandwich. So 1 layer of Mystic Jelly, one layer of smoke jelly, and then once that's dry, another layer of mystic jelly on top of that. So you're still getting the same 3 layers, but this time it's this really deep, vampy purple kind of shade. And if you just want to have a darker purple, this is the way to do it. And of course you can do it with Oasis jelly as well, but I figured you get the point. And the final combo I want to show you is mixing all 3 of them together. So you saw probably in the intro to this video what it starts to look like when you mix these 3 colors together. It probably doesn't come as a surprise, but I am just going to do a sandwich where I'm doing a layer of smoke jelly, a layer of Oasis jelly, and then a layer of mystic jelly on top of that. And again, we get this really beautiful, deep indigo kind of color. You get this really dark vibe from smoke jelly, but you also get this really beautiful purpley tone from mystic jelly, but it keeps it a little bit blue because of Oasis jelly. So it's just a lot of fun. You can really come up with endless combinations here, and you don't have to just do 3 coats. You can do more than that. So here's just a little comparison chart of the 4 combos that I showed you, and you can see they're all pretty different. So depending on how many layers of which colors you do, you can really mess around with this and create a ton more colors, and they look really beautiful on the nail. I love these shades of blue and purple. And before I finish this video, I want to take a quick moment to give a shout out to Orly Spellbound, because I didn't realize until I was editing this that I actually didn't do any nail art with this one, which is ironic because I would consider this one to be the most typical Halloween-y color, so it's probably the easiest to work with around this time of year because we've got the black, we've got the orange, and then we've got this silver hollow running throughout. So very beautiful glitter. It's a part of the set. I absolutely love it, and I should probably do some nail art with it before the Halloween season is over. So yeah, anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and enjoy this final blooper of me absolutely destroying this other nail art. Ugh. And then I smudged it. Love that.